Okay. We are League of Lawyers. We are here to make a speech regards to the ongoing crisis in Rivers State between Wike and the governor, the elected governor, Fubara. Gentlemen of the press, a little over a month ago, precisely March 18, 2025, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu declares a state of emergency in Rivers State. As you all know, the declaration generates mixed reactions from stakeholders and Nigeria generally. Since the declaration was made, our organization, League of Lawyers in Defense of Democracy, has watched with new interests happening in the oil-rich state and activities of the sole administrator, Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ikwe Ibas, retired, appointed by the president. We make bold to say that he is illegal occupying that office. Over a month after the imposition of the state of emergency in Rivers State by the President Bola Tinubu, with suspension of the state governor, Fubara, his deputy, and the Rivers State House of Assembly for 6 months, public outrage is yet to abate. Sadly, both chambers of the National Assembly have ratified this assault on democracy. While it is reassuring that most of the reactions from Nigerians to this worrisome development have mostly been condemnation, we have noticed how the public consensus has drifted always away from the issues that participated the political immense in Rivers State, which President Bola Tinubu exploited to launch this dictatorial career. We further note that the franks of recriminations, there is a scant effort that's proving workable solution that will return the state to democratic rule within states, since going without an elected government for 6 months is an injustice that people of Rivers State must not allow to suffer. As at the time the president took the action in River, there is no clear present danger that warranted the action taken. We of the view that the president should have waited to clear and present danger before taking such an action. Also, due process of law was not followed before making declaration, thereby making the pronouncement illegal. The president has to wait for clear and present danger. That is what the law says. That is, if we have to debate his action. When the president made the pronouncement, Nigerians came up with divergent views, some with reversation and some with sufficient ignorance. But we are bold to say that the action of the president and the endorsement by the nation. National Assembly is unfortunate. The president also, the most unprecedented and unlawful step in declaring a state of emergency in Rivers State. In the era where democracy is supposed to align spring, giving democracy dividends, to the masses. We have found ourselves at crossroads, a sober moment of reckoning where constitutional order is being tested in the most brazen manner. The president, who sought to uphold the constitution, has taken a most persistent and unlawful step with the suspension of the democratically elected governor, deputy governor, and an entire House of Assembly under the guise of emergency rule. What is emergency? Nigeria and Rivers people did not see or feel and any such emergency. In our law book, we stand by this. No constitutional provision, statute, or any known convention gives to the president the power to single-handedly dissolve the structure of an elected state government. This could only have happened during the days of military Judas. But we are not under the firm of drip of a military dictatorship. At the moment, the country is being governed under the constitutional democracy that operates presidential system of government. We, the look of lawyers in defense of democracy, totally condemn the action of the president, and we describe it also as totally unwarranted. President Bola Tinubu should not have taken the decision because democracy is a learning process. The judiciary has demonstrated a capability to resolve issues. The president should have allowed the various state organs to resolve the issues. It is not worthy that until recently there was a crisis of local government administration in Osun State, which has not led to declaration of the state of emergency. The same thing can be said in Benue State, where there is a problem between the executive and the judiciary and even insecurity, yet no state of emergency was declared. Even recently in Lagos State, there was emergency of 2 speakers in the state House of Assembly, yet no state of emergency was declared. There is no basis of such a declaration in democratic state, and we call on the president to have a second look and end emergency rule in Rivers State. The president should rescind his decision and allow institutions of state to take care of disputes that may emerge in the course of democracy. State of emergency is justified in exceptional cases to preserve or establish peace and order, especially when the rule of law and national security are threatened by grave and imminent institutional instability. But in the case of Rivers State, there was nothing of such. The ground known as we know that today in Nigeria is the 1999 constitution. Any other constitution is known to us and is null and void. It is what a guiding the National Assembly, the judiciary, and the executive. What does the 1999 constitution says? If you look at section 305 of the 1999 constitution about state of emergency, it says you must get the approval from the National Assembly, which the president eventually did after making pronouncement, and that is even when the problem of threatening the peace of the country. The question to ask here now is the political crisis in Rivers State threatening the peace of the country? The answer is no. We believe that constitutional power vested in the president to declare a state of emergency does not extend a removal or suspension an elected governor from the office. We can best describe the action of the president as a coup against democracy, and we insist that the president did not act in good faith. Emergency rule in the state undermines the authority of the elected governor and the violent constitutional practice. Peace and order in Rivers State could only be restored when Governor Fubara, elected by the people, is allowed to govern without interference from the predecessors and Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Wike. We would have expected the president to call Wike to order, and rather than doing that, he imposed a state of emergency in the state. On a final note, after studying the situation, we are unable to agree that a state of emergency was necessarily in Rivers State and does not also have any suitable legal ground to have been imposed. We therefore call on President Bola Tinubu to reconsider his stand and end the state of emergency rule in Rivers and allow Governor Fubara, who was elected by the good people of the state, continue his work as democratically elected governor of the state. Not only that, the president should call his minister, Barrister Wike, to order, who is said to be distracting the governor from delivering dividend of democracy to the people of the state. Thank you all for your attention. God bless. Through our fathers, the US, so that he will go through it and have this case of Rivers crisis resolved. Once again, thank you and God bless.